Hello there everybody, Sam Strains here, welcome back to the railway. You've caught me at the servicing table today, which is why I've got this table, this dirty towel down. I always use this dirty towel for delicate models, just because it's a little bit better than putting them onto the bare table. So yes, it's disgusting, but it's, it's going to get dirty just because of all the oil I use. Anyway, as I said, I've been doing my sort of routine servicing, and I got to this Hornby T9. And this T9 has always been a weird one because I've never ever been able to get the body off it. It's just, for some reason, I've always not been able to get the body off. And it's not been a problem because the loco's always ran fine. I've just thought, right, well, I'm not going to try and get it off. Anyway, this time I got to it and I thought, enough's enough. I want to get this body off because it's time to oil the motor. It's starting to get a bit noisy. So very, very carefully I eased the body off the engine, and I found inside that the motor mounting bracket, there we go, a little bit of a tongue twister, had literally crumbled into tiny little pieces. It had just completely disintegrated, and in fact, here's the biggest piece of it here. Let me show the camera. Really just fallen to bits. And so yeah, this is a really bad bit of mould in here, and now look, even a bit's just crumbled off now in my hand. I don't know why they've used material like this. It's almost as though they haven't melted the metal down properly and then they've moulded it into shape and it's just crumbled. I'm sure that isn't the case, but it's a little bit like that. Either way, it's just totally crumbled to dust. So, I'm putting that straight into the bin. So obviously that's quite a major problem because you can't hold the motor in. So that was fine. The original plan was I was just going to glue the motor in, which I did, and that worked fine. But stupidly, I forgot that you can't just glue the motor in because these gears are also held in by the motor bracket as well. So they were free to sort of move around and not make contact properly. So I decided, alright, I can't botch this thing as I wanted to, so I'm going to do the thing properly. So I went on to Peter's Spares and I found this. It's a brand new machined motor mounting bracket. I don't know if it's actually going to fit yet, I hope it is. It goes in like that, and obviously it's been made out of a proper material this time, so it's not going to just crumble to pieces, or so I hope. And but you do have to do a little bit of work on it apparently. We've got to trim this thing off obviously, and also I've had to order a new motor for it because I glued it to the bracket and I can't get it off again, but that's okay, a new motor isn't a problem. So I've just noticed that actually it doesn't slide in very well. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it in, but I think that might be okay. We'll have a look at that, but obviously this thing's got to come off, so I'm going to grab my safety goggles and I'm going to try and cut this off. Now this is going to be quite a manoeuvre. Yeah, there it is, you can see it. Okay, give this a try. There we go, that's come off. Now I don't know really, oh dear, that's a nasty smell. I should be wearing a mask really. I don't really know whether I've cut that small enough. I don't know whether this edge has to be perfectly flat. I hope not. But I suppose I'll have to take the chance on that. What I'm thinking is, when it's time to put the body back on, is that going to fit on? Well, I hope so. Let's put it that way. Okay. Right. So hopefully that's in place. I'm still noticing that this little piece here isn't quite going in, and I'm not sure why that is. There's a little bit of tape here actually, which I'm going to take off. It's like double-sided tape, but it's not sticky anymore, so I don't see what the point of that is really. Let's try again. Well, I think that's how it's supposed to go, because it's flush at that end, so there's no sense really, is there, in sort of forcing it in place. So let's give this a try. Let's grab this new motor, and I think what happens is, this motor is held in place by the rear bracket, and then this main motor bracket is also held in place by that. So I reckon that's what we've had to do there. And this is X9945, this is the rear mounting bracket, and it even comes with a screw, which is nice. Now I'm just thinking what I should do first, because of course obviously this motor's got to be soldered in place. If I can get the thing, hang on. And this is the X9946 motor, if you're interested. Plenty of these available. Basically this bottom lug on the motor has got to be soldered. Let me try and get this in. That's got to be soldered, so I may do that first, but obviously that's not going to be as convenient because this is just a plastic piece, I think. I don't think it's a metal piece, which means possibly I will want to solder that before I put it on, but we'll just think about that. Yeah, I don't really want to risk melting this brand new piece, so I think what I'll do is I'll tin up the motor contacts and we'll go from there. So I'll do that without the plastic piece in, just so that it doesn't get ruined, and I've just noticed there's some of this dusty stuff everywhere, so I'm just going to wipe that up. Normally I would actually go down into the garage or even outside to do a dirty job like that, but obviously because I'm on camera that wouldn't be as convenient, so I haven't done that. But anyway, let's tin up this motor. Ready to take its new wires. Now I don't do through-hole soldering, I don't really like it because it's a nuisance to get it in, and if you ever need to, it's a nuisance to get it off again, so I don't do that. I just solder the wires straight to the contacts, and that works very much fine. Let's do it the other side. Normally I'd have my head a lot closer to what I'm doing, but I'm trying to be mindful that I am on camera, so. Okay, very nice. Well, it's not very nice, but it'll do. Okay. Now I'm going to make sure that these wires are tinned up. I believe I tinned them up the other day when this happened, but obviously it's been a couple of days since then because of course I've had to wait for the new parts to arrive. Right, so which one's longer? I think possibly this red one might be longer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to solder the red one at the bottom. I can't remember which way it went initially, so I'm just going to take my chances with it. But if it goes backwards, it goes backwards. It's easy enough to fix at a later date. Really all I want to find out is whether this new bracket's going to work and whether the engine will run again. There we are. So that's soldered nice. I suppose I might as well solder the other one on, but let me just check first that this motor bracket will go on properly. And yes, it seems it will. I think I'll go ahead and screw that in now then. So let's sit this onto its new bracket, which seems to go in almost. Let's find out. So now that has to be screwed in place. Under quite a bit of tension though. I mean, I must say I don't really like that, but okay. Right, I realise you're not going to see this too well, but I think I'm just going to have to go for it. So let me find the relevant screwdriver, wherever it is. Bear with me a sec. I'm going to use one with a big handle because I reckon this is going to want screwing in fairly vigorously. Right, let's see what I'm doing then. Let's try and get this in. Okay, not too tight, but tight enough of course. Okay, now I don't know whether that's going to work, I really don't. I'm just going to plug in my controller so in a second I can test it. I'm going to apply a little bit of oil to the worm while I'm thinking about it. Doesn't have to be done now, but I'm not touching it again, so no sense in waiting. Put a bit on there. Should be good, and a little bit round the back just to make sure it's good and oiled. And let's re-tin up this wire then that's come off. That's sod's law, isn't it? But again, the soldering from Hornby's never been too good, has it? I mean, no offence, but yeah, this model isn't what you'd call quality on the inside, well, or on the outside. I've always found them a little bit delicate. A little bit too delicate. Obviously delicate's to be expected, but too delicate isn't good. Right, so we've got two wires soldered to one contact on here, which isn't a very nice design feature, but I'm not here to redesign the thing, I'm just here to make it work again. So, right, hopefully that's got fresh solder on it now. Hold this in place, solder it back on. Yep, I think we're there. Okay, now let's attach the other side of the motor. Okay, and now we've got to test it. So I'm just going to try and think what's the best way to hold this while I test it. I don't think I'm going to plug it back into the tender or anything just yet, because there's no guarantee that it's going to work. So what I might just do is apply power directly to the motor and see how that goes. Obviously that won't prove that my soldering has worked. It won't prove that the pickups are all working fine, but it will prove whether or not this motor is mounted in the right way, which is that's the important part right now. So just going to grab my helping hand so the thing doesn't tip over when I start powering it up. I'm not convinced. There seems to be quite a lot of pressure that this motor is under right now, and I'm really not too keen on that. I don't think the other one was under so much pressure, but hey, if it works, it works. Right, let me grab me power. Oh dear, this is a bit nerve-wracking actually. It's cost me quite a bit for these new parts. I mean, that machined metal piece was cost about 11 quid, I think. So if it ain't right, I'm not keeping it. I'll send it back. It's Peter's spares, but it might be okay. We'll see. Let me just turn this the right way up again so I can put power on. Okay, flip that over. Let's get this grabbed again. Okay, little power. Alright, well, it's working. I can hear that motor spinning up. It doesn't sound healthy, I must admit, but of course it works better than not at all. So what I think I'm going to do is clean the wheels, because obviously I wasn't able to do that when I serviced it. But apart from that, all the pickups and everything should be okay. It's actually not too bad. Going to want running in, of course, because it's a new motor, so I won't be too vigorous with this wheel cleaning nonsense. But yeah, okay, I think we've done it. I'm not 100% happy with it, but obviously it's a lot better than it was. And of course, once it gets running, maybe that motor will sound a little bit more happy. I hope so. Alright, let's put this thing back together. If I can. I suppose there's no guarantee that I will be able to, because this circuit board's certainly got a lengthy old wire on it now. Right, put this little insulator back on. Don't see why it's there in the first place really, but it's alright. Okay, those wires are tucked back, and the body's still here from where it was the other day. So, will the body fit on? That's the big question. The answer is yes, it will. Well, it kind of has. Yes, it has. Oh, thank goodness for that. Well, that's good news, isn't it? Right, I've got my screws in a little bag. How long have we been recording? 18 minutes. Got a couple of minutes left to go before the camera stops. So let's get these screws. Oh, that's one of them fallen away. Oh, that was a schoolboy error, wasn't it? Right, figure out which one goes where. I believe it was this one that went in to screw the body on. So there's that, fine. Now we want to screw the coupling back on. The coupling between the loco and tender, that is. Okay, we want this screwdriver for that. Okay, she is working, look at this. She's not quiet, and I must admit I'm not 100% happy with it. I reckon there is too much tension between the motor and the bracket. But, you know, it might mean that the gears wear out a little bit more quickly than expected, but it also means that she works, and she is running. But she's certainly not the quiet girl she was. But, you know, it's okay, it is what it is. And now I'm going to let her run around for a little while. just to get used to that new motor and let the brushes wear in. So thank you for watching, hope you enjoyed that. I can't wholeheartedly recommend those replacement brackets from Peter's Spares. It's doing the job, it is absolutely doing the job, but it's not a perfect fit, I must admit. Okay, cheers folks, see you next time.